Nationally recognized Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design, or LEED, program.
LEED is a green building criteria created by the U.S. Green Building Council, and it's a 5-part checklist.
Projects are awarded silver, gold, and platinum certification depending on the number of credits they receive. For new buildings and major renovations, the city has committed to achieve at least a silver rating. Where LEED is not applicable, the city will pursue certification through another equivalent green building program. LEED also has performance-based criteria for existing buildings.
And the difference between the LEED new construction and the LEED EB is that the LEED EB is really for more of a maintenance and operations.
In addition to LEED certification, new city buildings and major renovations will be designed to exceed State Title 24 energy standards by 20%. Title 24 was established in 1978 to reduce energy consumption.
And in talking to a number of the builders and contractors and engineers, that seems like a reasonable goal, and so that's what we're going to pursue.
In January 2007, the City Council accepted the Architecture 2030 Challenge, a series of CO2 emissions reduction targets for buildings.
Building is a local activity. It is not mandated by the federal government. It is a grassroots activity. It is at the grassroots, at the state and the city and the county level, where action has to take place.
Ed Masria is one in a group of architects, builders, environmentalists, and engineers that are trying to get the 2030 Challenge adopted globally. And since 3/4 of all buildings will be built new or renovated in the next 30 years, he says building them sustainably can literally save the planet as we know it.
Think about it. It's a new place in 2035. What a huge opportunity to turn the entire building sector around, if we do it right.
But in a time of tight budgets, how reasonable is it to build sustainably? Studies show, even if you take the environmental benefits out of the equation, going green makes a lot of sense.
22 buildings in California were looked at with LEED certificates, found that it has a 1.8% increase in costs up front for a certified building.
And experts say Santa Barbara's climate lends itself well to green building.
If you design a building properly, it doesn't need all the typical heating and air conditioning that you would need maybe in Palm Desert or Lancaster. So we have a great opportunity to actually use our existing environment to help condition our indoor spaces.
I think the city's benefit is that we're going to be a long-term owner of these facilities. They're not going to go away, and so the energy savings that the city will recoup on an annual basis will pay off the whatever increase in cost of construction.
Architects and engineers hired by the city will now be required to use the LEED checklist and the existing building criteria as a standard for improvements to existing city buildings. Some city employees will also be LEED accredited.
They'll be used on city projects, and so they'll help facilitate that. And then again, they'll be able to work with applicant teams who are pursuing those strategies and be familiar and be able to work collaboratively with them.
And if you think the city doesn't build or renovate many structures, think again. The city has recently completed the Granada Garage and State Street restrooms, both of which boast a number of green attributes. And the new airport terminal will be one of the largest green structures on the Central Coast. The city also has a number of large renovation projects in the works.
Take 2, for example, which is the fire station, number 1, and we're remodeling that. We intend on going after a gold certificate in that. And then also we're going to look at the Carrillo Rec Center, which is a renovation, and we'll be looking probably at the existing building, a LEED certificate for that.
With the approval of this new green building policy, City Council is demonstrating its leadership in the fight against global warming. They hope by setting an example, others will realize the promise of sustainability and in turn rise to the challenge of 2030.
It's the right thing to do. Getting more green, so to speak, is really building right. It's building the way that we can for the environment.
I'm passionate about this issue because I think I have 2 small children, and I think about what I leave them. I want to leave an impact that I've done something to help their situation in the future is better than mine.